Hello everybody, welcome back. I hope you're doing great. I know this is usually a reaction setup, but I am not doing that today. For today, it's been a while since I have done a review type video of a series or something. It's been a while, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember the last one I did, honestly. I'm gonna have to look up and see because I don't remember. But today we have Alice and Borderland season 3. This is the final season for this series. I have done a video of season 1 and season 2. I'll leave both of them at the end of this video and also below. If you want to watch those, I would suggest you watch those two first, unless you know already about Alice and Borderland. But if you don't, I would suggest you watch both first and then watch this one, since this is the last season for this. There is 6 episodes in this season 3. I think that's roughly what the other ones were as well, if not 7 or 8, but this one is only 6. They are an hour long, a little bit more than an hour. It came out on September. I tried to watch it as quickly as I could because I was like, 1, I wanted to see the ending of this, and 2, I wanted to make this video. Let me tell you what happened in season 3 first, and then we will talk about the games, because that's like a whole section that I have at the end, because I have questions for a couple of them. We start with episode 1, of course, and it is 4 years after the whole meteor thingy strike that happened in Shibuya Crossing. You have Usagi and Arisu. They are married. They look adorable married. Usagi works in this inside rock climbing store thing. I don't know exactly if there's like a proper word to say, but it's like an inside rock climbing, but it's also a store. And Arisu has a job. I know in the past 2 seasons he was unemployed. He has a job in season 3, and he works in a psychology office as an assistant. At least that's the way that it looks, because he was talking to like the doctor and telling her like, hey, this patient is here to look, you know, therapy and all that. So I'm guessing he's like an assistant of some sort. And then in this series we are introduced to a bunch of new characters. I am not gonna mention all of them, otherwise this is gonna be 10 times longer. I'm just gonna mention like 2 or 3 here and there, but we get a lot of new characters. One of them is Riji Matsuyama. Hopefully I'm saying it right. And he's a professor. That's just my guessing. He's in a wheelchair. He is interviewing people that were involved in the metro strike thing that happened in the Shibuya Crossing. He interviews Arisu, which there you can see that he doesn't really remember anything about the games or anything like that. Later on he does interview Usagi as well, and he is very obsessed with death and the afterlife and the land of dead and everything that happens when you die or when you're about to die. He's obsessed with all of that. Because of that, he gets invited to this seminar type of thing that are happening around, and they're classifying them as mass suicides. That's how they call them in the series. But Ryuji gets involved, or invited I should say, in one of those seminars. It is because he thinks it is a clue to the whole afterlife thingy games that he keeps hearing people mention that apparently have to do with the afterlife and all that. There is a building, they're inside a building, there's other people there. They all end up dying, so don't worry about any of them. I don't think they even mentioned their name. They die either way. But it's a building, and there's this man that tells them, okay, sit. There's like a round table and there's chairs. They are playing a game called All Made. Here we start with the games. Some of them I was able to understand, some of them I wasn't able to. I literally wrote everything that they were saying when they were playing the games. Games are gonna be complicated, but this one I kind of understood. They took a certain amount of cards, it was a card game, and they had to discard if they had any pair numbers right there, and then they just, well, one of them has the Joker card. That's the other thing. And they just go around and they just pick a card from the person next to them. Essentially, that's what it is. And if they pick the Joker card, so if the person had the Joker card and they picked it, the other person died. Or if you picked a number card and all of a sudden you have a pair of numbers in your hand, you die. If you move from the chair, you die, because the chair is like triggered with something. Electricity, was it? I think it was something. It was triggered with something that if you move from the chair and anything, it was like pressure thingy. That's a name for it, I don't remember. You die. So they had to go around and do that, and Ryuji wins at the end. It's a very psychological game because it's like you want them not to pick the Joker if you have it on your hand, so you kind of have to tell them to not pick it or play with their mind, which is what Ryuji does at the end, and he wins. And he meets Banda. Banda is from season 2. I don't think he was in season 1. And if you remember, at the end of season 2 they were able to pick if they become a citizen of Borderlands or not, and Banda decided to stay in Borderlands. So Ryuji meets him. Then we also see Anne. We see her in season 1 and season 2, or only season 2. Again, it's been a bit but we have seen her at least in season 2, and she goes to the place that Arisu works for therapy, and she recognizes him, but he doesn't recognize her. So while she's talking to him about, "You might not recognize me, but I do, we went through a lot together," that type of a thing, we have Usagi on the other side going to the hotel of season 2 where the witch game happens and all of that. It was supposed to be like paradise. She went to that hotel and she's having flashbacks of the game a lot, to the point that she has to like sit down and be like, what the hell is happening here? Usagi calls Arisu, but she disappears after that. She doesn't say anything, she just says sorry and disappears. Arisu does the right thing to go to the police. Police is kind of useless because they already think that she is cheating on him, because they found footage of the hotel with her and Ryuji talking, and they're like, "Is she cheating on you? That's probably it. She probably left." Arisu is like, "No, I know him." No, he even finds the interview that Usagi did with Ryuji, and it is very sad because she says that she has been having a lot of nightmares that have to do with her father, and that she doesn't want Arisu to know anything because she just doesn't want to. Yeah, police is kind of weird. Still, the police find them. They find Usagi and Ryuji together, unconscious, and they're in the hospital and everything. And instead of giving him time, because also this is where he knows she's pregnant. The doctor is like, she probably wouldn't have been able to know because it is like in the very early stages, but she is. And the police, instead of giving him time to be like, okay, let's just give him time and then talk to him later, no, they just go straight into questions. And I'm like, can the man have a couple of minutes, please? He just found Usagi unconscious with another man with no explanation still, and she's pregnant. Give him a couple of minutes. But no, they start asking him questions and everything. They let him look through her stuff, and that's where he sees a Joker car. Now, before this, Banda actually appeared in front of him. They were below a bridge. It was night. And Banda is like, "Hey, I am sure you and I are going to meet again and you'll remember everything." And he gave Arisu a Joker car. And Arisu doesn't say anything to the police when he sees the Joker car on Usagi's like belongings, which smart man, because police would have gone insane with that. But instead, he decides to go to Anne and find some kind of explanation. So she explains everything. From what I understood throughout this whole explanation that she gave, is that when the meteor strike happened and all of that, in the Shibuya crossing, they all were in a coma. They called it comatose, is what they call it in the series. And there's a point where their hearts stops for a couple of minutes, and that's where they were in the games. Now in the games, it looks like there were days, weeks passing, but in the real life, it was only 2 minutes max. That's as max as you can be. After 2 minutes, you die. Arisu decides to go back to the games to look for Usagi because he knows she's in the games. So Anne injects him with some kind of drug that will stop his heart. So it happens. He's back in the games, like everything and everybody disappears just like in the first season, and he is introduced to the first game. How is it called? It is in a temple, and it is called Sacred Fortune. From what I understood in this whole thing, this game is not complicated. There's a bunch of people and everything in this, but it is fortunes. Basically, one of them go, they pick a number, the little box opens, and they have a fortune inside and a question and they have to answer. And if the answer is wrong, whatever in between is wrong. For example, if the answer is 10 but you say 5, those 5 are like 5 arrows on fire that the game is going to like shoot at them. The thing is, when the first one, which is Tetsu, he's one of the new characters, he picks the fortune. It's a lucky one. He doesn't have a question. Then it goes woman, and there was a 5 difference in the answer because she got it wrong. And then obviously the 5 arrows on fire, and they're like, what the hell? So after that, they all got all the questions wrong, completely wrong, and the margin of error was so big that just so many arrows were shooting. All of them had to hide because they were on fire. The whole thing at some point was on fire to the point of burning down with them and them all dying. And then it's Aris's turn. Now you may think he's the character, you know, he's the main one, he's gonna answer right. No, he answers so wrong that the margin of error difference is like millions, if not billions. I don't remember exactly. It's so wrong. And then everybody's like, the game is not gonna be able to shoot that many arrows, and then you just see it on the sky and be like, oh, if we take that, we are dying, we're not surviving that. So Iris is thinking, he's like, okay, there must be something here, because it's just weird that this is, because the questions, honestly the questions were interesting, but then he remembers the papers had some kind of direction, like north, south, east, west, that type of a thing, and he realized the arrows were coming from the same direction. So he basically realized that those were directions to an escape tunnel, and they find it and they clear the game. Not all of them, a good chunk of them die, but what becomes his team in the game survived. And I'm here like, all of this time and now they're fine. And the thing is, even if they survived the amount of arrows that were going to happen, I think they will still die, because the whole point was for them to find the escape tunnel. Okay, so now we get the next game, which honestly this is my favorite game of the whole series. It is in the National Institute of Virus Research. As soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. And the game is called Zombie Hunt. Now I did write everything that they say is playing this game, because it is not complicated, but it looks complicated. Basically it said each participant receives 7 playing cards, number cards. You use them to play one-on-one games with other people. There's tables around the whole institute to play. You need to touch the person once the alarm goes off, and you play the game with them. You play cards, which essentially they put cards on the table. Whoever has the highest number wins, and they're able to take a card from the person that lost. And then there's special cards. There's 3 of them. You have the zombie, which if a person is a zombie and they play it, they win instantly, and the other person is a zombie now. So only one person in a group have the zombie card. 2, shotgun. It is to kill the zombies, and they all have one. And then the vaccine card, which is to cure a zombie and make a human again, unless, you know, if you don't want to kill a person, you can use the vaccine card. And this one is assigned at random. And yeah, there's gonna be 20 rounds, and if you lose all your cards, you die. And also the group, because they're humans, it is like humans versus zombies. Whoever group has the most people is the one that wins, and the other one dies. They realize 2 things. 1, there's other groups in the institute playing the same game. And 2, these games feel more like a tournament. Now something else that they do realize before at the beginning is that they all have been in the games before. So games from season 1 and season 2, they have been there before, and this is why they think, oh, this feels different, because in the other games they were able to pick games. It's like all of these cards in the sky, and they were able to like pick which one and pick the game. In this one they all are playing it because everybody was there playing the same game, and there's different groups. So that means each group has a zombie card, somebody might have the vaccine card. So we meet another new character, and her name is Ray. I love her so much. She's pretty mysterious. I love the way that she is. And she meets the team, Iris's team essentially, and she's saying this plan that she has that involves a trust circle. From what I understood, she's basically saying that she's a zombie and has a vaccine card, and she's basically saying if we form this trust circle, it's like if somebody becomes a zombie, they come to them, tell them who it was, and then they go and kill that zombie, and doing it like that it will make the other people that are zombies not get close to them because they will have the vaccine cards to cure zombies. It's somewhere around there. It's a very interesting plan. The problem with it is that you're gonna have people that are going to want to kill zombies, which is literally what happened. There were people there that were like, we can just kill them. And actually the first one that kills a zombie is Katsuya. He's another new character, and he's the first one that kills one, and that just creates trust issues within the group, because it's like, okay, so if I tell you I'm a zombie, not only I might get killed, you're going to go and kill another person, which I don't want. You know what I mean? So issues just already start happening. At the end of this whole game, zombies win. Arisu makes Rei a zombie, and apparently he has been a zombie from the beginning. So in his group, he's the one that had the zombie card from the beginning. He just didn't say anything. There were hints here and there that he was kind of saying, if you look back, when he kind of says that he has been a zombie from the beginning, because at some point he's talking to another character and he's like, yeah, I don't think the person that is a zombie in a group will say something, and the guy is like, why? And they're like, they're might get killed if they say something, you know. And it's like, you look at it back and it's like, oh, because he's the one. And the whole time Arisu has been very silent compared to other times, and it was because he was just looking to see what happens. It's a very interesting game. When I explain it to you and it doesn't look interesting, but when you see it, you see the whole thing. It's very interesting. So we go back to Usagi, and she's with her team, including Ryuji, and they're playing a game. It is a laser game. They never say the name, from what I remember. We do know though that Usagi is in the game because of her dad. Some cats are fighting very hard. Apparently, from what I understood, Banda is using Ryuji. He basically said, you just need to convince her that her dad might be in the game or something like that. Ryuji's using her dad and her nightmares and everything, and she hasn't got past her dad dead, essentially. And Ryuji's using that to bring her to the games, because Banda wants Arisu to come back to the game so Ryuji can kill Usagi and Arisu stays in the game. That's basically the whole thing. Ryuji's just doing all this because Banda is telling him to, because it's like, if you do this, I will tell you who runs this place. The afterlife, the line of dead, everything. Usagi and her team goes to the next game. It is in a train station and it is called Runaway Train. Basically, there's no driver in this train and they have to move from carriage to carriage to get into the first one or the last one, however you see it, and stop the train before it crashes. Now, after moving to one carriage, the doors are going to close and this gas thing is going to be released. It can be oxygen or poison gas, and they'll have a mask and 5 cartridges of oxygen, so if they think it's poison gas, they will have to use it, otherwise they'll die. Once the whole gas thing is over, they move to the next carriage when the doors open. That kind of a thing. It's like 30 seconds that the doors are closed, if I don't remember. That's the whole thing. So when the game starts, they move to the first one and they see a bird. All the carriages has a bird in the middle. So they think it's a signal to use the mask. They use it with the oxygen canister. But it's not poison gas because the bird is alive, so they just wasted one. They move to the next one, they use the mask again, the bird dies, so it is poison gas. They move to the next one, they don't use the mask, it is oxygen, so they're safe. The next one, they start talking about trains. There's this guy that is very obsessed with trains. He's like, this must be this train, which means it has something on top, so they wouldn't have space to put poison gas. So because of this, they think that carriage that they're now is poison gas, because the guy thinks there's space enough on top to put a tank. The thing is, not all of them believe that, so some of them use the mask, some of them don't. It ended up being poison gas, so a couple of them die in that carriage. Next one, the guy thinks there is a thing on top that needs the train to run, so there's no space for a gas tank type of a thing, which is true. It is oxygen. They move to the next one and they use the mask, but it is oxygen, so they wasted one. they got now 2 more carriages to go, but only 1 canister of oxygen, so they gotta pick. Also, the guy has been wrong about the type of train this whole time. It has been luck. Now there's a point where they see another train pass, and the guy is like, hey, we are soon going to be parallel with that train. And Usagi's like, we should jump, because the other train, the group got to the end carriage. It was poison gas. They all died, but the doors are open. So she's like, we can just jump into that train, stop it, and good. That way we don't have to go to the other 2 carriages and have a chance of dying because we only have 1 canister of oxygen. So they do that, and this is when we get the most iconic thing. There's this other train that puts parallel to the one that Usagi saw now, and we see the doors open and the poison gas, because I'm pretty sure it was poison gas, and we see him, Arisu, just taking the mask off. And I know everybody went insane with that. I as well did. But this is the first time that Usagi sees him, and they try to like push each other or something, but they cannot touch each other. Ryuji pushes her back because there was like a wall that was going to happen, so they can't separate, but that is the first time that they see each other. So after this we go back to Arisu's team, and they're able to stop the train because they're in the last carriage, but it's not on time, so they do get an accident. Arisu does get hurt, but Tetsu is able to stitch him up right there, and he survives. So they decide to wait until the next games to be able to play with Arisu, because he cannot play a game at the moment. So we get 2 games back to back. One is Tower Tokyo Tower. They have to climb Tokyo Bingo Tower. Did I say it right? They basically have to climb this Tokyo Tower, and there are these buttons that they have to press, and they have these goggles that they see like the bingo card and all of that. The thing is, the free one in the bingo card that is in the middle is at the very top of the tower. So of course Usagi, this is Usagi's team game, has to climb all the way to the top and get it, and they're able to win. The other one is Kick the Can. This is the one that Arisu's team plays. Essentially, a person would kick a can, this can will go flying, and it would just get into, they're in a building, it would just get to anywhere, and they just have to find it and bring it back. There is 10 cans, they got 60 seconds to bring it back. So once they touch the can, the 60 seconds start counting. The thing is, if they let go and another person touches it, I think 5 seconds are reduced from the time. Not complicated, but people die here on Arisu's team. There were 2 girls that died, and Katsuya dies at the end. That broke me. I cried with that death, but he died. Then Arisu and his team go to the next game, which it should be the last one, and they're climbing these stairs, and when they get to the top they realize they are in the Shibuya crossing and there's people around and everything. Now this is just a screen, they're not actually in the Shibuya crossing, and they can see each other on the screen, so they start like following themselves until they get into this room. Arisu sees him with Usagi and a baby. And then that's when we see Usagi like in person. That's like the first time that they're seeing in person, be able to like hug each other and all of that. I also cried. Thank you. I cried so many times on this. So there is 10 players for the final game. Now they're counting Usagi's baby as a player, which is why there's 10, which is why she has 2 wristbands for this game. And this game is called Possible Futures. This is the most confusing game ever. I didn't understand it. I still don't understand it up to this point. I'll read to you everything that they said to explain it, because I wrote it word for word, because I cannot understand it and I still don't. There's 25 rooms making a square. A player throws some dice in the middle of the room, and it shows how many people can go through each door, and you repeat it until you find the exit. There's 15 rounds. They also have these colors that they get electrocuted when they die. It's game over for them essentially. And they have these wristbands that have 15 points each. If a player gets stuck in the room, they will go into lockdown in the room, and to unlock it, 2 players uses their wristband on either side of the door of the room to open it. So if this is the room right here, this is the room. There's rooms here, so it's like a square. They can be here, they can be here, it can be diagonal as well. This is not a great way to explain it. But they just need to form a line of some sort to unlock the room. And again, they got the wristbands. They got 15 points on each one. 1 point to open the door. Now whoever decides to open it gets deducted 1 point. And when they get into the room, they get deducted 1 point. They just pick, if it is one person, then that person gets deducted 1 point. But if it is multiple persons, they get to decide which one they will get the point. And if you get to 0, you die. Each room shows a future, and the one they pick at the end will be the reality when they exit. Now, some futures are good, some of them are not. So you know this is gonna cause troubles and issues, which it does very quickly. And each round is 3 minutes, the time limit. So the game starts quickly, and again, futures, they're gonna mess people up, and it does very quickly, because at some point you got Ray that got locked in a room because not all of them could pass to the other room, so she decides to just stay. It is hell to be in a locked room. Hell. It's like red and everything. And Alice is like, okay, well, you go to this room, and then in Usagi's scene there was this couple. I don't know if they're brother and sister. I don't know if they're actually a couple, because the future that they were following, they were getting married, but also they kept calling each other brother and sister. So I don't know exactly, but I'm just gonna say couple. And Alice is like, okay, you guys go there, and then the couple was supposed to go to the other room to make diagonal to unlock Ray's room. That never happened because the couple kept following the good future. This is where things start getting weird, because they only mention 1 point being deducted, but at some point Nobu, which is another new character, he's on Alice's team essentially, he goes into another door. He gets separated from Tetsu because the other door had a better future for him, but when he gets into that room alone, he gets deducted 6 points. And I'm there like, isn't it supposed to be 1? Why is it 6? Tetsu, again, he goes into a room, he gets deducted 4 points, and then he goes into another room because he's following the good future at this point. He loses 8 points and he dies. And I'm here like, where did the 8 points come from? It's supposed to be 1. I don't understand. The couple, they kept going to a room. It was negative 4 points. He takes it, but then when they go to move to the other room, they cannot move together because the dice roll turned out to be 1 and 1 for each door. So they separate, and they're like, we're just gonna separate each other, and then we're gonna meet in this other room. But the room that he goes on is negative 8 points, so he dies in that room. She doesn't know it because she thinks it's still 1 or 4 points and that he's gonna be good. It's a mess. I was like, where did 2 for a 6 points deduction came from? They never fully explain the points. What's ends up happening is they're able to find the exit. It is in like the far corner, the last one they got to check. Arisu is trying to save everybody, of course, and he's like, wait, the wristband for the baby, it counts as 1. There's this old woman that is stuck in a locked room. And he's like, if Usagi goes into this room, it is gonna be negative 8 points, but she's gonna be able to take it because she has the wrist baby thing and still has the 15 points. She just has to put the wristband on the other room to unlock the old lady's room that is locked, and then she'll be able to take it back because again, it's a baby. If the baby dies, she dies as well. Usagi dies. So they do that. They're able to do that whole thing. It is stressful. I was about to just throw my phone off and be like, please, what the hell is happening? But they're able to get there. They're able to get all of them, the ones that survived, to the exit. They roll the dice, and only 7 can go. So, and there's 8 of them. So Arisu decides to stay back. Again, I cried because she broke down here completely, and then Arisu almost had a heart attack because he thought Ryuji was going to kill her outside because he can see outside on the screen and he doesn't do it, and he's like, okay. And I'm here like, if this man kills her, I'm gonna kill him. But no. And then Arisu gets a weird message: congratulations, you're the one that everyone trusted their futures and yours, and that he cleared the game. And then all of a sudden outside, a tsunami is happening. I think it's a tsunami. There's water everywhere. And I'm like, what's the point of getting out of the room? What? Okay, so Banda appears in front of Arisu on the screens, and he's like telling him his plan essentially of just bringing him back to the game so he will stay in the games and everything will be fun for him again because it has been boring for him. Arisu is able to get out of the whole room, he's able to save everybody, but Usagi is with Ryuji because Ryuji still wants to kill her. So Arisu goes, throws himself in the water, but then he gets stuck with Banda in front of him, and Banda is about to kill him, but the game kills Banda. And there is this guy that appears out of a sudden that is called the Watchman, and then he plays a card game with Arisu. Essentially the whole thing is, if Arisu picks the Joker card, the Watchman has to decide Arisu's future. If Arisu picks any other card, he gets to choose his future. That's the whole thing. And then we get an explanation of the Joker card. Because the Watchman says, and I quote because I literally wrote this down because I didn't fully understand it. There's 364 days of the year, plus the Joker card is 365 days, plus another Joker card is 366 days, which is the leap year. Joker fills the gaps between life and death, like in the cards. The Joker isn't a person or control the world, it's just a card. Still trying to understand that, but I don't still. The point is that Arisu knew both cards were the Joker, essentially. So the future is still on the Watchman's hand. So still he decides to give Arisu a choice. He's like, you can go into the life or death. Life is full of obstacles and death is just empty and quick. Arisu picks to save Usagi, which he's able to do. Ryuji dies, and Arisu and Usagi are able to go into the path of life and come back to the real world. Arisu is the first one to come back. He's still in the room with Anne. He goes to the hospital. Usagi wakes up, and then we see the ending scenes, which is everybody on the Shibuya crossing, walking and all of that. Sort of the same thing as in season 2, but with the new characters. Alice is giving therapy, I'm guessing, to past characters from season 1 and season 2. We see Shishiya and this man. I was so sad that he couldn't, be on season 3, but seeing him at the end broke me as well. I was crying at this point. And also there is these earthquakes that have been happening a lot, and we get transported to USA where they're talking about the earthquakes. They're in a restaurant, and we see the name tag of a waiter called Alice, and that's how it ends. It definitely has been mixed for people. Some people love it, some people think it wasn't necessary, because technically season 2 did end the story. I'm guessing this is based on a manga, if I better remember, or a webtoon or something. I'm guessing this whole thing, was still on that, and they needed to add it to actually finish it. I loved it. The games are so intense. There were a few things that they tried to, connect and everything, but I also think there are a few things that they didn't fully explain to understand. I also think it's just to finish the deck of cards, give it an ending and all of that. I liked it. I liked the games. I thought it was really good. I'll talk about the games first, a few things after to finish this video. So All Made and the Joker card shows, I put them together because they're simple games. They're just psychological games that are simple but effective to make your heart have a heart attack while seeing them, because it's like you don't want the person to die, even though I didn't care if Ryuji died, but it's kind of like it just gives you an edge. There were two very simple in a way games. Secret Future, oh my god, this one I feel is the one that people were more excited about, because apparently this game happened way before and they never did it, and they added this one. That's things that I have been reading about it. Again, it was entertaining. I never thought it would be like Escape Tunnel, what they had to do after them taking so many arrows on fire. Yeah, it was a good game as an introduction to let you know the games are bigger. Zombie Hunt. This is my favorite game throughout the whole series. This is number 1. It's unsolvable. People die, I know. But it was very entertaining. It was very psychological. It was interesting. I loved when Arisu said to Rei, I have been a zombie this whole time. That, I was like, this man, I feel like he played the Shishiya card, because I feel like that is something that Shishiya's character would do. So I feel like he just pulled him over there because he was so good. And you know, it feels like he knew how things were going to go. He was just looking around, just as something that Shishiya would have done. A few things that I was thinking while watching this game that I wrote down. I don't think the vaccine cards existed. We never saw a vaccine card at all. There were people saying that they have it or something. Ray said she had one, but we never see it. We never see anybody use it to change a zombie to a human again. So I think they never existed. Another thing is, at some point a person said that zombies cannot kill humans, which is true. Humans are the ones that can kill zombies, but zombies don't have any way to defend themselves. So that made me think that this whole time the safe side, in a way, will be zombies and not the humans, how everybody thought. Everybody thought zombies were the bad ones here, but I think it was the opposite. Humans are the bad ones. It's a very psychological game, for sure. It was entertaining. It's my favorite one. Number one for sure. Runaway Train. Another very intense game. I did have questions after this one as well. So they all got 5 canisters of oxygen, right? So of course, if you don't use them properly, if the last one is poison gas and you have one, you'll die. How were they supposed to know which carriage was oxygen and which one was poison? They never said that. Now, a few theories have been I can never say that, have been going around. People think that there was this poster in some carriages that talk about earth and oxygen, so that should have been a clue that that carriage was oxygen and not poison gas. Some people have been saying it's the bird. If the bird is, you know, just calm, it's oxygen. If the bird is moving a lot, looking anxious, that means it's poison gas, because they can feel it. At some point in Usagi's team, when they were playing, some of them died. Couldn't they take the canister of oxygens from them and use them on themselves? I don't remember anywhere the game said they couldn't do that. I'm guessing they couldn't, because I would have done that. I probably would have died, but I would have done that. I would be like, they still got 3, I'm taking them and using them on the next ones. I would be good. I'll use the mask the whole way around. Done. Maybe they said that they couldn't do that. I would die then. They probably didn't tell us for us to figure it out, which that would be interesting. Tokyo Bingo card, stressful. I do not like heights, and I was just holding on when that game was happening. Of course, I knew Usagi had to be the one to not only play that game, but to get to the free one, because nobody could climb that high except for that woman. I kicked the can, the one that broke me completely. This is my number 2 game. I liked it. It sounds sad because Katsuya died on it and I cried like a baby, but it's the number 2 for me. I was stressed because again, Arisu is hurt on this. He cannot run or anything. At the end, you know, 2 girls died. Arisu cleared it because Katsuya gave him the can to put it in the hole so he could survive. And they all were waiting in a elevator so they could see everything. And he was the only one left with this bunch of random people. There's nobody else to kind of help him or protect him. So he had to do that, and I cried. I blame the music. They put music. The 2 girls, when they died, didn't put any music. With him, they put music. I blame it. And I was, right before going to work, I was like, I'm gonna finish this episode. I'm gonna see it. And I'm just crying. I'm like, I'm going to work after this. What is happening? I blame the music. He tried. He got stabbed with glass. He got up. At some point he takes his jacket off and we see the tattoos, and that just made me cry even more. He got stabbed with glass. He fight. Then he got stabbed with glass again. And then what he ends up doing is everybody's on top of the can. He ends up putting himself on top of everybody so nobody could get out, and he explodes. And I'm just crying and I'm like, I'm going to work. I cannot do this. And it is very sad because his character at the beginning didn't like any of them. He wasn't in the whole let's play as a team and help each other. but at the end he cares so much for them that he protected them in that game so all of them could pass. Possible futures. This is the most confusing game ever. I liked it. It was interesting. It reminded me of the first game that I used to play on season 1. I think it was the first one when they went into this building and they had to pick between a heaven and hell door type of thing and find the exit. It was like that but more complicated. It's similar. Again, it's the thing that I never understood, the point stuff. They started with 1 point, but then all of a sudden it was 4, 6, 8 points, and I'm like, why? They never fully explain it. Also, I don't know if, again, they left it to our impressions to see if we could figure it out. I thought 4 things. I thought it was the farther from the exit, the most point you lost, but that cannot be because at some point Usagi, she lost 8 points and she was beside the exit. I thought it had to do with how many people could go in the room, and if it was less or something, that's the amount of point that they would get deducted. Doesn't make sense either, because when the couple people separated, the door said 1 and 1 and he still lost 8 points. I thought it had to do with the futures they were picking. I thought if they picked a good future of a sacrifice with the points, you know what I mean, because they're following the good future. That's another thing that I thought it had to do with the dice at some point. Also, I thought so many things. I think the future one is the one that makes a little bit more sense, but I don't know. To finish this, I think there were of course things that were left unanswered, and that is okay. I think the same thing happened with Squid Games at this point. I think the question of who really is the Joker is the main one. They give an explanation, but it felt more like a riddle. I feel like who's the Joker is something that the public is supposed to kind of think about it themselves and get to the conclusion themselves. They don't really are telling you who it is, so it's more of you seeing the series and you deciding which is the Joker, of what you think the Joker means, which is cool. If they did it that way, it is cool. I think either all of them are the Joker or the future is type of a Joker type of a thing. I like the new characters. I hated Ryuji, oh my god, I hated him completely, but I like the idea of Banda being the bad guy. I know it's a hot take, people are very defense on it. He's a serial killer. If you don't remember, in season 2 he's a serial killer, so this type of actions, decisions that he was doing to make the game fun for him doesn't surprise me, because he's a serial killer. That's what he wants. He doesn't have any more fun in the Borderland because there's no people that can match his intelligence, only attitude, which is why he wanted him back in the games. I also think some of the new characters do resemble past characters, and I thought that was nice. I also like that even though there were a bunch of new characters, they were able to present the characters very quickly, make you fall in love with them very quickly, and then kill some of them. And then also, before I finish this, please stop with the USA or American things, please, hint versions of things, please. The same thing happened with Squid Games when it ended. I'm taking it more as Squid Games can happen anywhere. Please, we don't need an American version. Neither Squid Games or Alice in Borderland. We don't need it. Please. Would I watch it? No. But please, we don't need that. We don't need that. I want to think that what they're saying is that Borderlands can happen anywhere, and that there's gonna happen one in USA. We don't need an American version of this. Please, we don't need it. I don't need it. If anybody wants it, great, you watch it. I don't need it. I'll stick with this one. This one was great. I loved it. I'll watch it again completely because I love this. I love this. I don't need an American version of it. Please do not make one. It's not needed. I don't need you guys to destroy something that is really good. Please. But that's all. If anybody has seen the series, let me know what you think. Did you like it from the beginning? Did you like this last season? Do you think it wasn't necessary? Again, I liked it. Maybe that is just me being biased, but I really love this series, and again, I will watch it again if I had to, because I really did enjoy it. But let me know what you all think. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. I hope you're doing great, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Bye bye.